Star Wars news just comes and goes. There's always a new rumor, a new headline, a new controversy, and it's like bubblegum. We chew it, we throw it away, we forget about it and then move on to something else. But I just want to remind you that this past October, Ewan McGregor confirmed that Lucasfilm and Disney were exploring different avenues to bring the show back. And suddenly, when you consider this, in light of what Liam Neeson is saying, it changes everything. So my friends, as you're probably aware, Liam Neeson, Qui-Gon Jinn, is not a big fan of recent Star Wars projects. He agreed to come back for Kenobi Season 1 for Episode 6, the last episode where he finally appears to Obi-Wan as a Force ghost, but he says he did it as a one-off. Whether it's in podcasts or interviews, he's famously said, Star Wars has become oversaturated. There are now way too many spin-offs that dilute the George Lucas Star Wars magic. He's a big fan of The Phantom Menace, which he appeared in. He's done vocal work as animated Qui-Gon. He appeared for a vocal cameo in The Rise of Skywalker. But the question is this, would he return for a Kenobi Season 2? In the past, he's basically said, no, there's no way. But as you guys are probably aware at this point, there have been numerous rumors going around the last week or so, stating Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2 is in development. What does this mean? Well, no one really knows. Some have suggested it means they're thinking about it. There have been some conversations, maybe Ewan McGregor is in the know, and others say it's in the writing process. A secret second season which Lucasfilm is waiting to announce, maybe at the next Star Wars celebration in 2027. Now, I've been very skeptical about this rumor. Some reliable sources like Jeff Snyder have said, it's absolute BS. There are no plans at the moment to bring Obi-Wan back, not for his own show. It's hard to know what to believe. It does seem rather implausible considering the shows haven't been too profitable for Disney, but now I'm starting to wonder if there is something going on. And the reason I say this is Liam Neeson was asked about the recent rumors. In a new interview with Screen Rant, his demeanor was noticeably different, and his responses more vague. And before we talk about this, I just want you to keep in mind, Liam originally denied being in the first season before his episode aired. He was asked, are you in the new Kenobi show? And he was amazing at convincing us he wasn't. I mean, he is an actor at the end of the day. But he was like, absolutely not. I wasn't involved, they didn't even ask me. Best of luck to you and McGregor. But lo and behold, Part 6 drops. Obi-Wan was reconnected to the Force, back on Tatooine after his mission to save Princess Leia. He was able to help Reva defect. He looks in the distance, and there is his old master. The one who Yoda told Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith would help him train to become a Force ghost. So, Liam wasn't telling the truth. So we can't always take him at face value when he responds to things like this. But he wasn't as strong to deny it this time. So first of all, Liam Neeson was asked about David Corenswet, the Superman actor who recently spoke about Qui-Gon Jinn. I made a whole separate video about this, but basically David said, if Qui-Gon was the one who trained Anakin, if he didn't die in episode 1, Anakin would never have turned to the dark side. And so now Screen Rant fills Liam Neeson in on this, and they ask him, do you agree with him? Was Qui-Gon the best master for Anakin? And Liam's response is very short, but very interesting. He says, quote, I'd love to. Not, that would have been great, or I agree with the sentiment and the theory, but I would love to. As in, after months of saying he wouldn't return, he'd love to play a what if of Qui-Gon training Anakin, going back to a scenario post-episode 1, where Qui-Gon doesn't die, and trains Anakin instead of Obi-Wan. But I should just clarify, Liam Neeson is a great actor, he was phenomenal as Qui-Gon Jinn, but he isn't some kind of expert at Star Wars lore. He loves the movies, and I'm sure he's watched some of the shows, but I don't get the impression he necessarily cares about Star Wars canon. I wouldn't say he's a diehard fan. And the second point to consider, my dear friends, is when he was asked about this what-if situation, he wasn't thinking about Hayden Christensen. Screen Rant says he was thinking about Jake Lloyd. Would he want to work with him again? And that's why he said yes. So this has nothing to do with a potential Disney Plus show that explores some kind of what-if scenario where Qui-Gon survives. I think he was answering very candidly. Would he like to do something like episode 1 again, where he gets to train Anakin, talking about Jake? And of course we know Jake has had a very difficult life, and as far as we know he's not going to be returning to acting anytime soon, so this is entirely hypothetical. So I don't even think Liam was taking it seriously. But then he was asked about the recent rumors of Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2. Does he want to be involved? And Liam gives a dodging but amusing response. Screen Rant says, Kenobi Season 2 has been rumoured, and he responds, oh has it? There's so many spin-offs, so I lost track. Now if they do a Season 2, Qui-Gon's Force Ghost is a must. I mean, that's got to be Obi-Wan's entire arc, and it's the reason some fans say, we don't need a season 2. Do we really need 6 episodes of Qui-Gon's ghost talking to Obi-Wan? Well, I think if you intersperse it with flashbacks and really show a morphing of Ewan McGregor's version into Alec Guinness's version, then yes, I'd say it's worth it. But Liam's response is certainly eyebrow-raising, because he wasn't denying it. Maybe he's so sick of being asked these questions, he said, oh, has it? As in like, I don't care, I've not heard anything, let's just move on. So he could just be telling the truth, he doesn't give a toss, isn't involved in the Star Wars news cycle and the rumour mill, and was just trying to brush it off. However, Screen Rants themselves, the ones who interviewed him, think there might be more to it. This could just be a nothing burger and them making a mountain out of a molehill, but they seem to think he wasn't comfortable with the question and was deflecting, dodging in any way he could to move on to the next question. And like I said, you can't necessarily take everything he says at face value. He's done this kind of thing before, where he's denied he's involved in something and then lo and behold, it happens. So I'm in two minds, because a part of me thinks Jeff Snyder is telling the truth. There's nothing going on, at least nothing official, but within Lucasfilm, they might be having those conversations. Because while the first season was, well, not a flop, definitely underwhelming and not profitable, you have to figure on some level, from a business perspective, they're thinking of ways to bring back these characters. I'd be very surprised if there is nothing in the works for a future appearance of Obi-Wan. Like I said in the past, whether it's a movie, whether it's an Ahsoka, however they do it, they're not going to sit on a legacy character who's still alive and desperately wants to come back. How many times has Ewan McGregor said he wants to return? Lucasfilm has bigger fish to fry, Ahsoka Season 2, the slate of upcoming films, but if I were to make a prediction, and to see the way the company's being run, there must be some spot being held for considering how to bring some of these characters back. It's the same with Luke. Mark Hamill might say he's done, but they're not just gonna let Luke go. Whether they do it in the same way they brought him back in the Mandoverse, I'm telling you guys, whatever the medium, whether it's in the Filoni movie, whatever it is, we're gonna see Luke again. They know these are easy wins. It's like I said in yesterday's video, and go check that out if you missed it. The reason they bring back Hayden Christensen as Anakin's Force Ghost and in Clone Wars flashbacks, it's because they know fans go berserk anytime Hayden shows his face, whether it's at Celebration, in Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka's first season. Fans love him, especially in this period of the 2020s, which is defined as prequel renaissance. And by extension, they're going to make the most out of Ewan. Whether Liam Neeson returns, I mean, who knows? If there is a Kenobi Season 2, I guess you'd figure it's a given. But what I'm saying is, there is no chance they're just going to forget these characters. Because when Disney bought Lucasfilm, all of their creative energy went towards making the sequel trilogy. But when that was done, they had to make a very difficult decision. Do they let legacy characters go, or do they maximize their profitability? After the reception to Kenobi, Book of Boba Fett, they might give those characters a rest. They might start to pivot towards new characters post-episode 9, but it's never going to be permanent. Eventually, I guarantee you we will see Kenobi again. So whether Liam Neeson knows something, whether any of these actors do, whether this rumor was just a fan guesstimation, I think it will eventually happen, even if it's in a different format.